All right, welcome back to Vitoria 1813 for part 2 of the Battle of La Hermandad. Right now, it's seesawing. I'm not sure. Like, just a couple of good rolls, and this battle could swing either way, in my opinion. Have conferred with some friends of the channel, including Scott, and did mess up some rules with the ditch. If you're playing you're playing this scenario, please pay attention, especially the last couple sentences of the special rules for the ditch. Yeah, I messed that up. They couldn't do... skirmishers also had to make the discipline check to leave the ditch, and also they can't use skirmish fire or the skirmish tasking when in the ditch, and that was the vast majority of the things I think I got wrong from what it's been pointing out to me. But we come back. Everything is ready to go. The British won last turn, and we've got one faltering brigade. It's General Blondeau's on the French right, and nobody's used any caissons. No one's used any ADCs yet. So Dalhousie still has one, and Derlon has two. That's CNC orders, and both sides have two caissons. Okay, let's roll ADC availability, and let's get turn 9 going, get right back to the action. Alright, hope you guys are doing good. Ugh, a little yucky there. French end up with 2 ADCs. The British end up with 3. I think the French are going to use their 2 to do stand with me, I believe, to on Blondeau's brigade, and then the British are going to use ADC reroll tasking with all their brigades except for Vandeleur. All right, here come the British brigades first. See who's active. General Vandeleur is hesitant. The rest of the British brigades are active. Not sure what impact that's going to have, but definitely won't be doing any charging out of there. And now we'll do the French, who won't have any ADCs, but will automatically have Blondeau's brigade following commands as they use their first of their 2 CNC commands. To think about that for a second. Sorry. They also, I think, 3 of the battalions that have casualties can get 1 back. So Blondeau's brigade that was faltering is no longer, is now following commands. The 2nd Battalion, 51st, goes from 8 casualties to 7. The 1st Battalion, 51st, goes from 8 to 7. You notice the theme here. And the 1st Battalion, 54th, also recovers a casualty and go down to 7. So a little bit of a help, especially on reservist units. They only take 10 before they explode, so every drop will help. All right, we'll roll for the other 3 French brigades and see how active they are. General Neuenstein, who's kind of on the front center now. Also, some of his 2 battalions of Bavarians in reserve, but his Swiss are up on the front line. He becomes hesitant, probably a language barrier, not knowing what the heck's going on. And yeah, that's it. So both sides will be rolling 3d6 for initiative, taking the lowest 2 dice. Too bad the British had to roll 3d6 dice on that. With that double 6, they would have had a extra ADC or CNC command. They could have used that later, but no. But they still win initiative. They get a 9 versus the French 7. And that's it. We haven't had any ties yet. The French Derlon slight advantage with his tactical genius hasn't quite paid off yet. We'll see. It's only about halfway done. And the British will get initiative. No charges this turn. With no charges, we'll go ahead and do the movement phase. Might be some shifting around, but it's getting to a point where the second lines are pretty blown out here. All right, for the British, the 95th are going to try to step back into and the 35th is going to try to come out of the ditch and take their spot. They see if they can play pass the discipline check. The 35th is a veteran unit, so a 6 will get it done barely. They were reluctant, but we will move them out. The 95th will step back with all their casualties. All right, synopsis of the movement phase. Nothing really happened down here, except for the 28th started sidestepping. They went half their move. They know the 1st Royal Scots are about had enough, but they don't want to pull them off the line and give up that position they have, forcing the French right side of the line. Most of the British units have stayed still. Besides, we saw the 35th move up, the 95th fall back into the ditch with their 10 casualties. The Swiss did step back and formed a better line. The Bavarians held in place, but the rest of the French here stepped back. So now the Bavarians are on the front line now. They moved behind them. The KGL units swapped places. Just this one fell back behind it. The 5th KGL fell back behind the 2nd. So now they're in the lead, and everything else kind of stayed the same on this flank over here. Just some fire disciplines got removed, some unformed units reformed. But that's it for movement phase. We'll go into skirmish phase. We just have that one British unit. British skirmishers there. They have 3 bases left. So they get 6 shots firing into the 2nd Battalion 16th. 5 shots. Sorry about that. They inflict 1 casualty onto the 1st Battalion 16th with that skirmish firing. And that'll end the skirmish phase. So we go into artillery phase. British guns are worn and firing at long range, so they're going to fire a 1 CD weak volley or artillery fire across at the French over here, which has no effect. Now the French only have 4 casualties. They will fire back at the British. And these guns have been in fuego for the French. Still be a weak volley at long range, or inferior volleys, not a weak volley, sorry. Ooh, that one almost rolled over to something else. That was almost another bango job on those guys. They do inflict another casualty onto those British guns. Let me go over that. I can't remember exactly how many casualties. They're at 6 or 7. Oh man, they're at 8. Now they're at 9 casualties. Might be time for these guys to pack up their trash and get out of town. Actually, should have used 2 caisson to recover 2 casualties on that one. To remind myself to do that next turn. And now we go into volley fire, which is basically going to cross the entire battlefield here. I just bumped this hill. That's not good. The 1st Battalion 32nd on the far British right did have fire discipline last turn, so they won't be able to use the 10+ column as they recovered fire discipline. But they're going to fire a well-disciplined volley against the French across from them. That puts 3 casualties onto the 1st Battalion 75th. That's a good shot. The extra CD really pays off, finally. They're up to 6 casualties now. Alright, next up, the 1st Battalion 9th with 7 casualties going to fire into the French. I was going to have the 69th take their place. They only have 5 casualties. But I think I'm going to wait another turn, let these guys take a few more casualties before I pull them. Just because you never know. Keeping some kind of reserve is going to be important, since the British have most of their stuff already committed. And there's still a French battalion or brigade off table. Alright, here we go. This will be an inferior volley because they're worn, but well disciplined. Two casualties on the French over there, 2nd Battalion 75th. Now we'll get 2nd Battalion 28th being fired on by the fresh KGL unit that did moved a little bit because the other unit passed through it, retiring to the 2nd line. They do 1 casualty on 2nd Battalion 28th, racing them up to 5. The 35th are fresh as they come up onto the ridge. They did move. They kind of split their fire between the Bavarians and the 2nd Battalion 16th. Does 1 casualty on each as the 2nd Battalion 16th goes up to 6, and the Bavarians take their first casualty. Now we go down to, whoa, what unit is this? I think it's the 84th. They're going to fire straight ahead, and they'll hit the Swiss and the Bavarians. All right, kind of a missed opportunity there, as they do one casualty to each of them. Next up is the 4th, firing straight ahead. They'll split their fire between the 2 Swiss battalions in front of them. That was not a missed opportunity at all. The 3rd Battalion, 21st will be the focus of that, so if there's any more, the discipline check will be on them. An absolutely devastating volley from the 4th King's Own. 3 casualties onto the 21st Swiss, the 3rd Battalion, and then 2 onto the 2nd Battalion of the 21st. These guys will take a discipline check as reservists. Let's looking for an 8 to not be affected. They keep it together. Good job, baby. They're not just making chocolates. They're making good troops. Next up are the buffs. They're going to fire straight ahead. They'll split their fire between the 2nd Battalion 54th and the 3rd Battalion 21st of the Swiss. I think the 3rd was so impressed with the volley from the 4th they got distracted. They pick a fire discipline. They do 1 casualty to the French unit in front of them. We'll go down to the 1st Battalion 44th. They'll fire a well-disciplined volley, and they'll split it between these 2 French battalions. Absolutely devastating volley, which raises the 1st Battalion 51st to 9 casualties, and the 2nd Battalion 54th to 6. The 1st Battalion 51st, his reservist unit, 1 away from imploding. They have to take a discipline check as enfant perdu. They are staggered, becoming unformed. The Royal Welsh Fusiliers see their weakness and unload into them. 1 casualty away from being destroyed. They are destroyed. Faltering Blondeau's brigade again. And now we'll finish up the British turn with a volley from the 1st Royal Scots. They will be a weakened volley just because they have 9 casualties into the 2nd Battalion 51st. Causing 2 casualties, raising them to 9. They are 1 away from imploding themselves. Holy cow. What a volley. The French now, or what a good offensive phase. That's the benefit of winning initiative in this turn. You can inflict casualties, and basically then you get hosed. You get less hosed, I guess is the correct term. Alright, so starting on the French right, 2nd Battalion 51st, Reservist Battalion, firing into the 1st Royal Scots. This will be a weak volley, but let's see what happens. Sorry, the correct turn is inferior. The single dice is the weak one. They do 1 casualty to those 1st Royal Scots. They're going to be up to, oh cow, they're up to 10 casualties. All right, they're 1 away from getting devastated. Now we've got the 2nd Battalion 54th firing straight ahead into the buffs and the 44th, I believe. They have 6 casualties, so this will be a inferior volley themselves. The buffs go up to 7 casualties. Now we move down to the 3rd Battalion 21st Swiss. They have 5 casualties. They'll fire straight ahead, hitting the buffs and the 4th King's Own. The 3rd will go up to 9 casualties, and the 4th will go up to 4 casualties, as they each take 1. Their sister battalion, the 2nd Battalion 21st Swiss, will fire straight ahead into the 4th and the 84th. They did move, so the 10, 11, and 12 don't get the massive bonus. No, they didn't move. I apologize. So they still can. They can hit a home run if they get lucky. They do 1 casualty onto the 4th. Now the Bavarians, who didn't move but got passed through, they'll fire a volley straight ahead. They'll hit the 84th and the 35th. They split casualties, do 1 on each of the battalions. The 84th is up to 4 casualties. The 35th takes their first. Now we get the 2nd Battalion 16th. They'll fire straight ahead into the 35th, but it'll be a inferior volley because they are up to 6 casualties. They're having issues. They go into fire discipline. Oh, bring it back, baby. All right, 2nd Battalion's 28th of the French with 5 casualties, firing into the fresh KGL unit. Welcome to the party. As they take 4 casualties, they'll take a discipline check, looking for a 6 to pass, as they are a veteran unit. Per my standard protocol, they barely make it, but they do pass. Sliding down to the 2nd Battalion 75th, they'll fire straight ahead into that British unit. I can't tell which one it is. But the French do have 6 casualties, so it'll be an inferior volley. That's the 9th from Norfolk. They'll go up to 8 casualties. And the final French line battalion will fire an inferior volley against... and I love that glare. 32nd from Cornwall. Let's see how they do. They put 1 casualty on them, raising them to 5. All right. There were some missed opportunities, some great volley, especially from the 4th, and then this French line battalion welcoming the KGL unit to the front. Awesome. But that'll be the end of turn 9. Going on to turn 10, let's roll some ADCs. Still rolling 5 dice for each. General Blondeau is hesitant. And when I say hesitant, I mean faltering. So sorry about that. Let's do this! Alright, welcome to turn 10. As you saw those ADC rolls, the French have 3 ADCs available. The British will have 4 thanks to that double 6 they rolled. The French will immediately allocate 2 ADCs, 1 to Derlon for the faltering brigade and 1 for a reroll for Blondeau to try to keep him on the table. The British will decide what to do next with theirs, and we'll go from there. Just while we're doing the French, Chassé down here, the Dutchman, will take the other French ADC attachment and try to keep 2nd Brigade functioning down here on the French left. Oof. Kind of cut thin here with not enough ADCs. Let's see what the British decide. General Dalhousie is going to focus on his left. Chief General Kempt, a Glory and an infantry assault, focusing on the Royal Welsh Fusiliers, hitting that damaged French reserve unit before they could step back. They're kind of isolated there with a charge, which will be a well-supported charge against an unsupported foe. And then the other will be an ADC roll on General Grant. So then basically Vandeleur will get his reroll, and then the final British commander, I think it's Power, correct? He'll kind of be all by myself down here on the British right. All right, start off with the British. See which of their brigades are active. Really counting on this assault on the left. General Power and General Grant both go hesitant for the British. The infantry assault will go in on the left, and then General Vandeleur, just being an outstanding gentleman that he is, he'll continue to push hard with his units against that. He's got everybody against him. He has borne the brunt of this fight, but it's pretty equal in everything else. Just some saying by numbers of depth, the French and the Swiss and Bavarians are about 3 deep over there. But we shall see. The infantry assault over here on the left should be a big one. It's this first hand-to-hand of the battle, and that'll be great. Let's see how the French do. They might not even have an opponent down here if these guys fail this divisional morale check or so. So the big thing is he gets a wavering result down here with Blondeau, which is bad. So first of all, any unit within 2 of imploding is imploded. So this reserve unit over here on the far right is only 1 away from going bye-bye. So they break and run for the hills. They will evaporate. All the other units can either stay where they are and take 2 CDs, or they can fall back and take 4 CDs, and the brigade will remain faltering. So the 2nd Battalion, 51st, they'll shatter and run. And then the 2nd Battalion, 54th, and the 1st Battalion, 54th will both become unformed, I believe, and take 2 CDs damage right now. They both take 1 casualty. The first will go up to 7, and then the 2nd Battalion, 54th, and the 1st Battalion, 54th will go up to 8. All right, so we have a wavering brigade over to the right. General Braun's brigade is hesitant, and then we'll have to roll initiative, and then we'll deal with all of the issues with Blondeau on the right. Both sides we're rolling 4d6, taking the lowest 2. Darlon will win the initiative, and basically we're going to move on to charges. All right, French right is emptied out now. Those 2 battalions on the far right are gone, and now we'll go on to the charge phase as the British will send in what's left against Blondeau's brigade, trying to shatter them. All right, the 44th goes in with their 1 casualty against the French charging in. They have a rear support from the 29th from Worcestershire, and I'm sorry for pronouncing that wrong. And then they have flank support from the Royal Welsh Fusiliers, the 23rd. We'll get closing fire from the French, and that artillery will fire canister into the 23rd as they also move forward. 2nd Battalion, 54th will open up with an inferior volley because they have 7 casualties. They do 3 casualties onto that the 44th, forcing a discipline check. They are veteran, looking for a 6 or better. Continuing the tradition of just getting by in wargaming and in real life. I'm just kidding. And well, not really. And the British take up to 4 casualties now. Canister fire now from these guns into the Royal Welsh Fusiliers. Technically, they get 1 CD of bounce through into that British unit trailing behind as well. 23rd takes 2 casualties. They'll take a discipline check because it's canister fire. It's not really bounce through, more like penetration because of its canister. The 29th will take 1 casualty. They're up to 4. So we'll get 2 discipline checks. One for the 44th we'll do first. And I forgot, they actually passed. We rolled a 6, so they made it. Sorry about that. And now the 23rd will take their discipline check, which is a big deal. They become unformed. I think that affects their ability to support. All right, the 23rd cannot offer a reroll, so they can fire. They'll fire on the French artillery unit since they cannot support the attack. All right, they put 2 casualties on those guns, raising them to 6. And now we get the actual charge. The British suffered 3 casualties, so they're going to be rolling 3d6. They do have 1 support now. The French are going to be rolling 3d6 because they have 7 casualties. They have 1 support. I don't know if a Warren Brigade can offer support. 1 second. Yes, they can offer support. Now, if you're defending another unit can offer from a different brigade can offer support, but I'm debating if I should do that with the Swiss. So in this charge, the British will roll 1 penalty dice for having taken the 3 hits on the way in, and the French will roll 3d6 for being worn. The French will use their 1 reroll, which will be the 1st Battalion 54th. They're not going to bring in the 3rd Battalion 21st of the Swiss just because they've got to fight against the buffs in the 4th King Zone who devastated them last turn. But at least the Swiss will get to shoot before the British, so that could be advantageous, hopefully. Right now, the British are winning 4-3. The British will also get another reroll because they are veterans against reservists. So 2 rerolls for the British, 1 for the French. French are going to reroll their 1 and see what they can do with it. They're up to a 4, which is horrible. The British can use their first reroll just for being awesome and reroll that 2. Right now it's a 3-point win for the British. Now the 29th behind them is going to join the battle or join the charge, and they're going to reroll the 2. Also, I guess it's been out for a little while. I used to play video games a lot, and there's this, I forget what it's called. It's Hold Fast, and I think you can play different time periods. One of which is Napoleonic first-person shooter, which looks hilarious. I haven't even tried it yet. I just watched some videos, and some of them look. There's I guess a British gaming group on there called the 44th, were fun to watch. That sound effect from the charge was, I think, when they have this hilarious short that popped up on my feed of them just yelling "human wave" as they all run forwards. I thought it was hilarious. So if you like kind of wondering where that sound came from, I got to give credit where credit is due. I couldn't stop laughing when I heard it. They look like they're having a good time. Oh, so it's going to be a win by 5, which will be take the ground, defender retreats with 4 CD, supports withdrawal with 1 CD casualties, and the British are going to drive off the French. That is a reservist unit, so if they take 3 casualties of this, they will implode, and that'll be 3 of the 4 battalions from the brigade destroyed, which will shatter the unit. And those red dice remain hot as the 2nd Battalion 54th is destroyed. The 1st Battalion 54th, no point even rolling. They will retreat and flee. General Blondeau will run. He'll take his artillery with him. That will trigger the reserve brigade to come in. They're going to come in on this right side, but not during the initial movement phase, during the tactical movement phase. That looks a lot different after the British, under, who's that, General Kempt, seized the ground over there on the French right. No French in sight, but there are, just beyond these trees, Léger brigade is coming in hot. They'll be here in the tactical movement. The French won initiative, so they'll move first, and then followed by the British. French are actually going to hold their positions. British are going to hold their positions. I forgot to mention I did use a caisson from General Dalhousie to reduce that gun battery down 2 casualties. I think they're down to 8 now or 6. I can't remember. We'll find out middle. That gun is going to move. It's going to rotate to try to find a target. Well, actually, it might stay right there because if it can reach the Léger when they come in, it's going to nail them before they can engage the Kempt's brigade. 4 battalions of the 2nd Léger under General Furion arrive on the battlefield in reserve. Derlon was saving them, and that's a great time as his entire right side incinerates. Alright, so that'll end movement phase. Now that we've done on-table and tactical movement. Or is it tactical and reserve movement? I can't remember. We'll go on into skirmish shooting. Where the only one to skirmish will be the British down here on the right. They will have 5 shots against the French 2nd Battalion 16th. That'll raise them to 8 casualties. I have to see if the British guns are in range of the Légère. And now that I think about it, it actually doesn't matter because they're part of a hesitant brigade, so they can only fire to effective range, which is nowhere near where they need to be. I think it's like 24 inches. So this would have been an ultra long range shot. So that ends the artillery. The French guns have already fired down here. These French guns down at this end have nothing to shoot at because everything's just too dangerous close to their own units. We'll go into volley fire, starting with the French. We'll start down here on the far left as the 1st Battalion 75th with 6 casualties will fire straight ahead into their British across from them. They're only able to inflict 1 casualty onto the 32nd, which is clutch because they're up to 6 now. 2nd Battalion 75th, next in line for the French, moving to the right, will fire a volley straight ahead into the British. I think it's the 9th. They should have fallen back, but oh well. They're going to take it like a boss. They only have 6 casualties on the, so they have 6 casualties on the French, so it'll be an inferior volley. They will get up, 1 casualty, so they're up to 9. Now this French unit that actually isn't worn will fire 5. Well, they have 5 casualties. They fire a good volley against the KGL, who they rocked last turn and gave 4 casualties to. And it's awesome seeing that Légère unit come onto the battlefield. These guys are probably like, no! They had a clean shot into La Hermandad, and now they've got to deal with a brand new, fresh brigade of 4 infantry battalions and a skirmish line of 5. So far for turn 10, the French are underachieving with their first 3 battalions. They do put another casualty onto the KGL, raising them to 5. You got to think, if each turn is 30 minutes, they're 5 hours into this battle. These guys have been gunning away on each other. It's probably gentlemen with running out of ammunition, and there's no end in sight as they just continue to bang away. At some point, they're going to have to just go crazy and break out the bayonet in a minute. Next up is the 2nd Battalion 16th. They have 8 casualties. They will fire straight ahead into the 35th, and their first casualty will go onto the skirmish screen. Skirmish screen loses a base, going down to 2. I'm just going to move them back now so I don't forget later in the carnage. So that skirmish screen is now gone. At least they've fallen back behind General Vandeleur. Now we'll move on down the line. The Bavarians, yes, they have 2 casualties. They'll fire straight ahead into I think it's the 9th and into the 35th. Another so-so volley, but does 1 casualty to the 84th. That wasn't the 9th, I apologize. Next we'll move over to this Swiss unit that will fire straight ahead and hit the 84th and the 4th. Both of those British battalions suffer a casualty, and they're both worn now. They both have 6. Now we'll get the 3rd Battalion 21st of the Swiss firing into the buffs and to the 4th. The buffs go up to 11 casualties. They're 1 away from imploding. The 4th goes up to 7. They're getting hammered too. Great volley by the Swiss, the 3rd Battalion 21st. Wow. All right, let's see what the buffs can pass to their discipline check. They can indeed. All right, nothing else can shoot. Everything down here took place in the charge. So now the buffs will fire back. It'll be a inferior volley, and they did move. They reformed back to their fire discipline. They blast the Swiss with 2 casualties, taking them up to 7. They'll take a discipline check as enfant perdu. That is too much for those gentlemen. They're going to retreat, take 4 CDs on the way back. They already have 7 casualties, so if 3 of these hit, they're going to just keep on running until they get to somewhere else, probably Toulouse. The French right continues to incinerate as now the 3rd Battalion of the 21st Swiss falters and runs. They flee for the baggage train in the rear. They know what's going to happen after Vitoria. They want to get the heck out of Dodge. That'll falter Neuenstein's brigade on the right, and there's nobody home. Thankfully, Fririon is arriving, but he's going to have a hard time when he gets here. The 4th will now fire into the 2nd Battalion, 21st, with a, I think they have 6 casualties. This they do, they have 7, so it'll be an inferior volley. Raises them to 7 casualties. 2nd Battalion, 21st, now takes a discipline check because that was a veteran volley as enfant perdu. Oh no, they will also retreat. They'll take 4 CDs of casualties, so 4 hits on them will also implode that regiment. So I got Civil War on the brain. Battalion. Oh wow, they also shatter and run. They'll follow their sister battalion and take off of the hills. All thing left of the Swiss are the garrison here in La Hermandad. The giant hole on Derlon's right is now even larger as another Swiss battalion runs. These reservist units just a little bit more fragile than everybody else. With 10 casualties, they are gone. Next up's the 84th firing into the Bavarians. See if they can survive this. It will be an inferior volley because the 84th has 6 casualties. They take 1 casualty going up to 3. Now we'll have the 35th firing straight ahead. It'll hit those Bavarians and the 2nd Battalion, 16th. A healthy volley from the 35th does 2 casualties to the 2nd Battalion, 4th. 2 casualties to the 2nd Battalion, 16th. They're up to 10. They're up to 5. Discipline check on these gentlemen. They are grenadiers, so he's saving his regular units, looking for a 7. They become unformed. They will be moving behind the Bavarians next turn, hopefully. Woo, looking rough over here. All right, now we've got a KGL unit that's 5 casualties firing straight ahead into 2nd Battalion, 28th. That causes 3 casualties on them, raising them to 8. Now we'll get this British unit with 9 casualties, firing straight ahead into the 2nd Battalion, 75th, with 6 casualties. The 9th's able to raise them to 8 casualties, and now we'll get the 32nd firing straight ahead. They have 6 casualties onto this French unit. It raises the 1st Battalion of the 75th to 8. All right, wow. Quick overhead view. Pretty static until you get to the middle of the battlefield. A lot of these units are getting weak, and then we just got a massive void of nothing in the French. There is units coming up, the Légère, but definitely some issues for Darlon. Starting to have second thoughts about his life choices and retiring to the French Riviera. All right, that'll end turn 10. We'll see you in 11. You guys are awesome. Alright, turn 11. French lost a brigade but gained a brigade back. Still rolling 5 ADCs, I believe. And yeah, that should be it. Both sides rolling 5 ADCs. Let's do it now. Both sides have 4 ADCs for the moment. The French will use their divisional adjutant to re-roll that one they had. Alright, so for turn 11, the French will have 5 ADCs, the British will have 4. The French won initiative in turn 10, so they will place their ADCs first, then the British. The French will place 1 ADC re-roll with General Furion's brigade, General Braun's brigade, and General Chaussee's brigade. Then they'll pay the penalty for the divisional morale on General Neuenstein's brigade and give him a re-roll to see if he can come out of being faltering. The British will play 1 ADC on all of their brigades except for Vandeleur's brigade, and then they'll play an infantry assault down here, probably with the King's German Legion going into the remnants of Chaussee's brigade down here. Alright, let's roll the French brigades, see who's active, or who is going to have massive issues. Not looking at you, Neuenstein. Good luck, baby. Braun gets a faltering. Unfortunately for Neuenstein, he'll get a wavering. So all 3 of his brigades will go, or all 3 of his battalions will go unformed. Hold position and take 2 CDs worth of damage. The garrison inside La Hermandad takes 2. These gentlemen do not take any additional casualties, and these guys over here, the 1st Battalion, 4th Bavarian, they take 1. So could have been worse. Alright, but the French will be rolling 4d6 for initiative. Let's do the British, see if their brigades are active or they have similar issues. Everything's active for the British. General Dalhousie, super psyched. He'll be rolling 2d6 for initiative versus Darillon's 4d6. And the British eke it out, 7-6. That was closer than I thought it would be. Alright, good, nice rolling by the French, but just come up a little bit short. We'll move on to the charge phase, and yes, there will be one. The 2nd Battalion of the KGL Light is going to charge the 2nd Battalion 28th. The KGL will be supported by the 5th KGL, and these gentlemen will be supported to their left and to their rear. They could also be supported to their right, but they're going to hold off on that one. The KGL will also get an extra reroll because they are veteran versus a line unit. Alright, time for the charge. The French will get a inferior volley as the KGL comes tearing in at them. French have a panic attack, get fire discipline, and now we'll do the charge itself. Oh, it's terrible. Right now the KGL has got a 3, a 2 and a 1, and the French have a 3 and a 1. Both sides have 2 rerolls. We'll start with the I guess we'll start with the KGL because they're losing. Alright, their superior ability turns that 1 into a 6. So now they have a 8. The French are going to try to re-roll with their support to the rear. 1st Battalion 28 stumbles in there, has no effect at all. Now the 2nd Battalion 75th to their left, they'll try to charge in and try to support the French. Ah! The blue dice have gone ice cold. They rolled 2 1s. The 2nd KGL Battalion rushes into the fray looking to get a victory out of this. Which 6 or greater is a victory result, so this is going to be an epic slaughter for these 3 battalions of Chausset's brigade. Alright, the French are going to end up, Chausset is going to end up faltering. He's going to have all 3 of his three of these battalions retreat. The main unit will take 66 casualties as they run, and the 2 supporting units both take 46. Ended up rolling 1 less white dice than I should. I'm going to go ahead and throw that in now and continue the epic slaughter. So this battalion will take 4, which will take them to 12 and destroy them. These guys will take 2, which will take them to 8, and these guys will take 3, taking them to 11. KGL will recover a casualty after they take the ground, go down to 4, and the French are basically blown off their line. These gentlemen are back here with 8 casualties. These gentlemen are up here with 11. Chausset is falling back. Oh, not looking good. Alright, that'll end the charge phase. We'll go on into movement. British will move in first. After the movement phase, the French started putting it in reverse. We're starting off on the French left. This is one of the benefits of not winning initiative in the movement phase. The British stayed still to fire at the French over here. That was their move. And then the French stepped back 6 inches out of range. And there you see that brigade out there. Here's the KGL that just won that victory. These 2 French battalions stepped back. These ones are already here. They kind of pivoted. These guys have 11 casualties. These guys have 10. That left the Bavarians on the front line here. This is the remnants of Braun's brigade. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then of course Neuenstein's brigade, Bavarian, Swiss. Nothing in here. I'm missing some guys off the KGL. they don't have enough dudes. KGL lost some of their guys over there, so I'll change them. They moved in front of the buffs. These gentlemen didn't really move. They had to reform. The 1st Royal Scots came up behind them. Furion's tree fell down. Furion's brigade moved forward 6 inches, put their skirmishers out front to engage the British. That's movement phase. Now the 4th are back to full strength. The 84th tried to steal 2 companies of their troops, but they said no thank you. They got them back. Alright. Looks pretty ugly. We'll get some pictures. We'll go into the skirmish shooting, which will just be the French. French skirmishers of Furion's brigade are going to fire into the Royal Welsh Fusiliers with 6 shots. The blue dice come back to life. Amazing. Do 3 casualties to the Royal Welsh Fusiliers, and they are up to 5. That'll end skirmish shooting. British guns across the way. They have 6 casualties. They'll fire 1 CD at this French line battalion, Léger battalion, excuse me, and get bounced through. 2nd Battalion, 2nd Léger, takes 1 casualty from that cannonball. French now have their guns unmasked. They're going to fire at effective range into the KGL with bounce through. They put that casualty back on the KGL light they got from the one they got returned to them after they won the hand-to-hand and didn't advance. That ends artillery fire. Now we go into volley fire. Start down here with the 23rd. They're going to fire into the French skirmish screen, which will lower their... Since they're firing at skirmishers, they will do inferior volley. They'll put 2 casualties onto them. Now the 44th will fire a inferior volley into that same screen. That blows away one of their skirmish bases as they take 3 casualties on one of them. Moving down, we get into the York. I can't believe they have 6 casualties. They'll fire an inferior volley into the Bavarians. Nothing inferior about them is they put 4 more casualties onto them, and they'll take a discipline check as Enfant Perdu with 9 casualties. It's Oktoberfest. Those Bavarians are psyched. They're not going anywhere right now. They passed that discipline check like a boss. Unfortunately, the 35th starts lowering their muskets, and they'll split their fire between the 2 Bavarian line battalions in front of them. Before the 35th fire, we do the discipline, the destiny roll. Forgot about that. Alright, the 84th recovers a casualty with that destiny roll. Now we'll do the 35th, firing into these 2 Bavarian units. The majority of the casualties go on to the 2nd, and only has 1 to give. Which will be horrific. That was bad. That'll do 5 casualties. These guys would take 3, and these guys, well, they can only take 1. They'll take 4 and go up to 5. They'll be driven off. That'll be 3 of the 5 battalions in the brigade will be driven off, and the Neuenstein's brigade will flee for the hills and disperse. And if you can believe that, that is it, because that'll be 2 French brigades destroyed. And that is a victory condition. It was either that or take La Hermandad. Let's clear out the Bavarians and the Swiss and see what it looks like. So I guess from what I read in this scenario, this is the exact same thing that the brigades that were in, the battalions that were in Neuenstein's brigade did at Talavera. They buckled and they gave up the battle, basically. So Swiss have run from here. The 2 Bavarian units both fled from there. The center is wide open for taking La Hermandad now. A little bit too little, too late from Fririon. Basically, I think he can move out and partially stop some of the British army from capturing the fleeing French. Braun's brigade is in tatters. He's got 10 casualties, 11 casualties, 8 casualties, 7 casualties on his 4. Over here, Chassé, he's got 8, 11, and 8, and there are 2 of them in retreat status, plus his brigade's faltering, so he'll probably run. They would definitely run after they take off. The British would just kind of wrap in here, and it would be all over but the crying. So, going to be heavy casualties. We'll add them all up. We'll be right back. I won't do a separate video. We're going to add this on to this one. And yeah, it should be awesome. All right, well, I hope that was a great battle. Just stand by for the wrap up. And that was great. I'm glad I stopped it at the part 1 at turn 8, because I think this one was, I could see it was starting to fall apart. The French were getting very fragile, and the Brit veteran units just held their own. They did awesome. They had some serious casualties though too. I mean, the 23rd had 5. The 1st had 10. 29th had 4. 44th had 4. Oh gosh, the Buffs had 11. I think the 4th had 7 casualties. The 84th had 5. 35th was in great shape. 95th was beat down with 10. They stepped back after they got hammered. KGL had 5 and 6. We have 9 over here. 5 for the 69th. 9 was on the 9th. 6 on the 32nd. And the 40th was completely fresh. So kudos to them. They'll be strong for the final push on Vitoria, which will be the last battle in the 6-part scenario book. British also had 7 guns and had used some of their artillery part. The other French gun over there still had 1 casualty. So they lost multiple guns. There's probably 6. Wow. Okay. Great battle. Hey, so just looking back at the battle, my overall impression was, wow, this was probably one of the more realistic fights that I've done, in my opinion. It maybe, I'm not sure how big these guys' ammunition pouches were, but they basically banged away with each other with musketry for a solid 6 hours. There was some units that switched places in lines. There was some skirmish firing, but a majority of this battle was close range, troops lined up, just shooting away at each other like there's no tomorrow. And that was pretty cool. In that type of battle, I think the British are going to win 9 times out of 10, just with the extra discipline dice, the extra casualty dice they do because they're firing well-disciplined volleys. Plus, the British were also assisted by the fact that they had a vast majority of their troops were veteran. The weakest thing they had was line, and they even had one elite unit out there as well. And their skirmishers, of course, were better. And it was just overall, it was high-quality troops against more low-quality troops. I was concerned at first when I saw the number of troops that I had for each order of battle after I tweaked it, that the French were going to have a vastly superior force, because I did want it to make it close, but I'm not going to do any play testing. And I guess I was surprised how the French weren't able to win, or even, well, I guess they made it close, but the fact that the British rifles and musketry was so powerful and just did so many casualties to the French that it was pretty devastating. By the time I basically had to time the appearance of the extra French battalion or brigade, the Légère Brigade, and I thought in previous General des Armées scenarios, reserves had been triggered by after the loss of a certain brigade, so I thought that was a good idea. And when the Légère arrived, I wasn't expecting basically the next turn another brigade, the Neuensteins, to get wiped off the face of the planet, and then basically the other 2 brigades were on the fence, about ready to go anyway. So the entire French force was holding on to by a fingernail, in my opinion, by the time that Furion and his 4 Légère of the 2nd Légère Brigade Regiment showed up. So they didn't really get to make a big impact. So overall, I was worried that was going to cause too much of an imbalance, and I was proven wrong. But I've also, my feelings wouldn't have been hurt if they got to, the Légère would have had more of an impact, because basically they just marched their skirmishers forward. They fired a couple dice at some of the British units. The British returned fire on them, and then the entire rest of the French force buckled and died. So the British did exactly what they do. They just line up. They just hammered away with musketry and dominated with skirmishers as well. And they just played their game. The French really couldn't attack because the British were superior troops. That would have been a nightmare. They just would have triggered an earlier demise. So they basically try to use their superior numbers and then switch out regiments and try to rotate them in and out, and try to outlast the British and get to turn 18. That was my plan, and just didn't make it. So it was a good effort. We'll go into the casualties, at the end of this video, but it ended up being just what I wanted it to be, and I was absolutely thrilled with the whole thing. And here's the graphic for all the battles. If you look down on the left, the Battle of La Hermandad, or Hermandad, I pronounced that wrong half the time. You can see how absolutely brutal this was. The French lost 2,329 killed, 3,725 wounded, 987 missing. There was no cavalry involved, as you saw. They lost 10 guns, and they had 1,346 men captured. And I just kind of did an estimate with where all the troops were, what the French had left to offer, and a lot of those guys would have given up. Overall, the British this was their most savage casualty counts, but they still did much better than the French. They lost 1,311 men killed, 2,097 wounded, 1,587 missing, no cavalry. They lost 6 guns, and they had 5 guys captured, probably just in the trenches, and end up getting weaved around. If you look at the overall total at the bottom, that's for the entire battle so far, and then historical casualties I'm totally blowing them out of the water. So far, the French have lost 6,167 men killed, 10,441 wounded, 3,887 missing, 368 cavalry lost, 59 guns, and 22,730 French have been captured. And then flicking over to the British, they've 4,229 killed, 6,381 wounded, 3,771 missing, 166 cavalry lost, 15 guns destroyed, and 16 gentlemen captured. So not even close on anything historically. And I still have the final assault to go, which will be a core level game, so the casualties will probably be even more horrific. I could see doubling and tripling some of these previous battles. Fantastic. This has been a lot of fun tracking all the stats, and Scott had his casualty counter and everything else, so it was very helpful in this whole the statistical data gathering. So yeah, that's it. So we'll continue to keep this up until the last battle. I'll probably do this on the 1813 battle as well. I did order a book from Cavalier Games. It's called, I think it's Let's Fight Leipzig or something like that. It's a bunch of scenarios around the 1813 campaign. So I think I saw a video for it on Dom from Boots on the Table, and I bought that. So when I do jump into all this 1813 stuff, I'm going to do the scenarios from the David Brown's General d'Armée. We will fight the 1813 campaign when we're all done and all ready to go with Scott and anybody else that wants to join. And then I'll have that as well. So I'll have tons of Russian, Austrian, Prussian, and French, and whoever else wants to get involved in it battles, which I'm really looking forward to. Next up for the channel is I'm going to go back and play some Alpha Strike BattleTech. It's going to be a massive battle. I'll get Addison involved in that, and I can't wait. That's going to be awesome. I'll have a preview game before that. I got to try to brush up on the rules to remember everything. Also, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to use my Drop Fleet Commander models, and then I think it's Grand Fleets as a naval ship game that Scott did a video on over at Check Your Leader TV. I've modified the ships and the rules a little bit and all the weapons, and I'm going to use those Drop Fleet Commander ships, Scourge versus the humans of the UDF, and going to play a game of modified Grand Fleets just to see how fun it is, and then I will tweak those rules, and that'll be another little sidebar thing to play. Hopefully that'll buy me enough time to do get some more Russians, Prussians, and Austrians painted, and in between those games. So that's the plan for now. I'm going to continue to work on all that stuff, painting in the background, and then that's it. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I hope you have a great week, and that's all I got. Well, take care, and we'll see you guys soon. See you. Bye.